It's estimated that the internet could be storing about 100 zettabytes of data. For reference, 1 zettabyte is equal to 1 trillion gigabytes. With all this stuff on here, there's bound to be a lot of places that are just really weird and eerie, and that's what we'll be talking about today. I'll be going over a bunch of different internet sites, or games, or anything else that are just really weird and creepy. According to an internet domain tracker, this website was created in 2018, so this one's still relatively new. I can find almost nothing discussing this website online, so I'm just gonna show you what I found. When you open up the website, it looks like this really fun, colorful, playful space, and it is called the Excitement Fun Zone. But if you observe for one more second, you'll start to notice that it doesn't look very child-friendly. Like, those are pills, that's a bone. There's a trauma category, which if I click, takes me to a deleted YouTube video, so that's a good sign. I was able to watch this video with the Wayback Machine, and it's just this 3-hour video of some guy in a weird costume. In the description of the video, there's a bunch of binary code, which translates to this text in Spanish, which in English reads, "I look and understand. I'm in my cage, you outside, I inside. My wings don't take me anywhere. How about tomorrow?" So, that's a bunch of nonsense. This website is kind of similar to the LHOHQ if you're familiar with that, because if you click pretty much anything on this website, it redirects you to a different page where there's something else. If you click this X-ray image, it takes you to this page, and if you click the guy's fingers, it takes you to this video, which looks to be just a bloody corpse. It's definitely not real though. And if you click the guy's eye, it takes you to a download link for a zip file. I really want to download this, but I also don't trust it. The file is 500 megabytes, so it's definitely holding something. I'm just gonna run through some other stuff on this website now. If you click the panel on the right, it takes you to this video, which doesn't really go anywhere. It just shows someone flipping through these Polaroids of children, which is pretty weird. The panel with the balloons takes you to a video where someone is feeding what appears to be a kidnapped person, and they're being fed raw hamburger meat. And the panel on the bottom right takes you to some MK Ultra entertainment thing, but there's nothing else on this page. Clicking some links on the page take you to this one website, which is called Parents Grieving Children of Suicide, which lists a bunch of kids who supposedly died by suicide. I don't think these are real people because I couldn't find any information on any of them. It is really weird though. The rest of the links don't really have any ostensible purpose. Clicking R-Truth takes you to a video on this channel. The video is just a blurry mess. In case you don't know what a Caesar cipher is, basically it's just when the letter values in text are offset a certain way. So you know how A is the first letter in the alphabet? Well, an offset of 1 would change the A to a B because it's being offset by 1 letter value. An offset of 2 would change the A to a C, and so on. It's a relatively simple method of encryption. If you use a Caesar cipher on the name of the channel, you get the game caller, so that's pretty edgy. Other than that, I think this website's just trying really hard to be like a cool cryptography website. It's really just weird for the sake of being weird. Someone obviously put a lot of effort into this. I mean, there's like live action videos and all that, but yeah, if someone wants to try and solve it, I say go for it. So, Worlds.com, or Worlds Chat, was this sprawling open-world digital game that came out in 1995, so this one is really old. Basically, it was a really early Roblox, or VR chat. There were tons of different worlds that you could connect to and explore with a bunch of other people. This game has since died, and there will be pretty much nobody online at any given time, except for maybe a few people who are just there to explore. And you can somehow still play the game, because it's still online, and I'll get into why that is in a bit. First, I'm just gonna boot up the game and check it out. It was surprisingly easy to get the program running. I just had to download it from this archaic website and then I was good to go. But I did have to make an account, so they sent me a verification code, which was food. So it's good to know that nobody's getting past the security here. I first had to get used to the awful controls that only used the arrow keys and not the mouse. Then I wanted to change my avatar, so I went into the character selection room and found a vast array of about 9 skins. I went with Psalm Guy because he looked really stupid, but then saw that I could be an M&M, which looked even worse. It was at this point that I realized I hadn't actually played the game yet, so I settled with Gollum and went on my way. I then found out there was an auditorium which hosted poetry readings on Sundays and Tuesdays, so I made a note to check back in. I then went down to the center of the auditorium and started playing around with the many different emotes they gave me, like Fall 1 and drums. I spent about 10 minutes doing that before finding a mirror and breakdancing in front of it. Then I decided to treat myself and take a trip to Blair Witch World, which was just just a diner. After that, I couldn't get anything else to work, so I decided to call it a day. I think this game was really intuitive for its time, and it's very welcoming to the very few new players it has. The creators, however, weren't as concerned with making a fun game as much as they were patenting it. The official patent for Worlds Chat is a scalable virtual world chat client server system. If that sounds incredibly broad, that's because it is. The team behind Worlds Chat basically just used the patent to file claims against any other online game and make whatever money they could from that. They've sued Blizzard and a lot of other game studios. The patent did expire in 2016, so they can't do that anymore. But the servers are still up, so, I mean, their website now claims that they're gonna be the next metaverse or whatever, so I'm not sure what they have in store. I'm gonna be blurring a lot of the footage in this section for your sake. If you really want to see the stuff, his TikTok username is this. So, JMC Nest is this guy who uploads food videos to TikTok. This sounds extremely regular, right? Well, if you take one look at any of these videos, you will see that this guy is cooking and presumably eating the most disgusting, moldy, maggot-infested atrocities you've ever seen. A lot of this stuff is, like, genuinely gag-inducing. There's been a lot of speculation about this guy's situation. Like, some people think he might be living in Chernobyl. He has done live streams in the past, and for those, he's used the Chernobyl time zone. In multiple of his videos, he's seen with a duck and sometimes a cat. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't think he's ever harmed these animals. In the videos, he's actually pretty playful with them, as if they're his normal pets. Now, of course, these animals are not being treated how a house pet should be, if this is the food this guy's cooking, but they're probably in a better situation than a lot of animals in that area without anyone caring for them. In one of his videos, he reveals what looked to be a completely raw and whole pig's head. I'm not going to show you. It was uploaded on December 18th of 2020, so this guy has been posting for a few years with seemingly no change in his environment. Now, of course, it's possible that these videos are fake, but I don't think they are. In one of his live streams, he had another person with him who was speaking for him because he apparently doesn't speak very good English. She answered a lot of questions that people had and basically explained that he does actually live like this and that he has refused help in the past. But there's also the fact that he does seem to have access to electricity in these videos, and from what I can tell, Chernobyl doesn't have access to electricity. It is entirely possible, though, that if he's maybe living on the outskirts, then some building could be supplying a bit of power without realizing it. All in all, it's definitely a sad situation, not only for the man, but also the animals that are there as well. It is still technically illegal to reside in Chernobyl, but I don't think anyone's going in there to investigate, so he's probably just gonna keep living there. A death file is any image, video, sound, game, or anything else like that when subjected to, will cause, like, harmful effects to the viewer. Now, pretty much none of these are actually real. Like, there isn't actually a picture that's gonna make you, like, die. But some of the stuff is actually, like, a little bit scary. Mind crashers are very similar, but instead of, like, killing you or whatever, they're just incredibly difficult for your mind to comprehend. This image, for example, was intentionally designed to be very difficult to look at and, like, understand. Of course, this isn't gonna work for everybody, and most people are just gonna see some nonsense. But this does seem to have an effect on some people. This could, of course, be that they maybe, like, scared themselves by believing, like, an urban legend or something. But they could genuinely cause someone some, like, cognitive dysfunction. A death file you've probably heard of before is the Lavender Town song from Pokemon Red and Green. This song contained binaural frequencies which supposedly caused 100 Japanese children to kill themselves in a bunch of different nasty ways. This, of course, is a myth, but the song can cause headaches and stuff like that because of the binaural frequencies. This iceberg has 647 entries on it and is probably one of the largest indexes of death files and mind crashers. I couldn't research most of it though because a lot of them are from this website called forstore.ru, which is entirely in Russian. The next and final topic I'm going to cover in this video is kind of an extension of this one, so I'll just get into it. So, you might have heard of the Robert Gul glass camera theory before, but you probably haven't. There's this incredibly obscure conspiracy theory that the government, sometime in the early 80s to late 90s, invented this tool or mechanism which was called the glass camera. This object allowed someone to remotely project their vision to the glass camera through astral projection. The government decided to test this glass camera on a psychic named Robert Gul, who was relatively popular at that time. Well, he began astral projecting for the government so that they could see inside and spy on military bases of other countries. Well, since the glass camera was putting like an intense amount of strain on Robert Gul's mind while he was projecting, in one of the tests, he actually died while in the glass camera, but the people watching were still able to see his vision. So they witnessed him go to heaven and actually saw it for a brief moment before the mechanism stopped working. They got a single photo of heaven before it shut off, and it was named daytime.jpg. If that wasn't deranged enough, this is where it gets like genuinely insane. The government then decided to use the glass camera on a murderer until they died so they could see into hell. They attempted this while recording the glass camera's view, and once the murderer died, they saw into hell. They called the footage hell.mp4. Shortly after this occurred, the Vatican government broke into wherever they were holding these files and stole them, and the files are allegedly being held in a vault in Vatican City to this day. That's definitely a really insane conspiracy theory, and some people genuinely believe it. I could find very little information on this one other than a few Reddit and 4chan posts and Wendigoon's conspiracy theory iceberg. If there's anything you guys want to see me do, let me know in the comments, because I definitely want to take your suggestions for what you want to see. I have been messing around with virtual machines, so maybe something to do with that. Also, if you have any suggestions for like background footage, then let me know, because I'm not sure if I want to do like more Minecraft gameplay, or just like photo graphics, or just have me sitting and talking. Also, I want to say thanks for the support on the channel lately. My last video is currently at like 1,200 views, which is wild to me. Thank you for watching this one. I'll be back in February with another banger.